Okay, so sorry. I had no idea that my camera stopped recording when I went to go carve this. So I did a lot of talking and doing stuff without you guys seeing, but I'll show you what I've done. So the last video left off with me about to start drilling. One of the other things that I like about this drill, because I can hold it here like a pencil. It's got that really narrow base here and I can hold it. So anyway, so I have drilled this and I'll, do it again just for the sake of showing you. But so I've already drilled it. I was actually going in and making my marks a little deeper, but I just went right along the lines that I made. So, all right. And I was saying in the video before my phone so rudely cut off that I scored it first, so that and you want to do that first, because if you go straight into making the marks and making them as deep as you want to, if you make a mistake, and it's fine to do some of the imperfections like I showed you, but you don't want to go off. You want to get the feel of how this goes, because this will, if you're not careful, you'll go up when you really want to go straight. So score it first with just the tip, score it first, and then go back and do a little bit, at a time. I'm used to doing it now, so I can do, this and be fine. But if you're just starting this, you want to make sure that you have full control of this drill, because this thing right here. All right, so I'm going to use my concrete brush, which I showed you in the last one, but I wasn't recording. I'm going to use my concrete brush, and I'm going to just clean it off. And you see the mess, here. Be careful, because it will clog your vacuum up. So I try to do the bulk of it on a sheet. All right. And what I would do is I would do the sides too, but for the sake of the video. But if this is something, when you're doing it, like on the brick that I have over here, I've got to do on the sides, because you'll be able to see that. So I still have to do the sides on those, but you can see on this one, I've already done it. So you can see my sides there. So this one is done. Okay. So if you're going to do it, and even on the fireplace itself, you have to get the sides. Don't forget the sides, that you don't see straight on. Even in the alcove, you need to do, these grooves so that it looks realistic. Okay. So if you're going to glue this together, then you want to use, like I said before, you want to use your Gorilla Glue that's made for foam, and you want to go ahead and glue the pieces together. I would say trial and error. I would say that if you're going to glue the pieces together, glue them together and then start outlining your brick at the seam, so that way you can hide the seam. I didn't do that in the other brick. So, it was kind of like you can see where the seam is. Sometimes it just doesn't bother me, but somebody came over and they said, can you do something to cover the seam? And you can't see it straight on unless you're really analyzing it, and I don't want people to do that. I mean, nobody's going to see it in my room anyway, but still. For this one, just make sure that when you glue it together, you start your brick at the seam. And what I mean is that if this was two pieces glued together, then this groove right here, that would be, I would make sure that the seam is one of those grooves. So I would start outlining my brick at the seam. Does that make sense? Because you don't want that seam to be seen. Otherwise, you're going to need to take a brush and go over it and really, really cover that in, which is what I'm going to have to do with the one in the room, because I don't want that seam. So let me show you what it looks like. Let me show you what it looks like when you paint it. And I really needed to wet my sponge, which I didn't do. So, hang on. Let me go and wet my sponge. And then I'll show you. I didn't tell you need sponges, did I? I just got the, oh, it's kind of wet. Kind of wet. I can use it. Kind of wet right here. They come pre-moistened, so you just need a little sponge. And I usually cut the sponge. I cut it because I don't need a big piece. So I cut the sponge. And I'm just going to use that right there. Normally what I would do is I would mix a little bit of, you know, white or something in here. But this is actually the paint that I'm using for the grout on my other one. So just going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to be honest with you. Are you going to do this and think to yourself, this is actually pretty. Are you going to do this and think to yourself, man, this is taking a long time? Yes. You're going to be tempted to shortcut it. And if you can, then, you know, great, go for it. But I just go ahead and take my time and do it. So. And it goes pretty quick. Honestly, it goes pretty quick. I'm going up like this because I don't want to put a glob of paint. Let's see. I know my family. My family's like me, so y'all are going to see this and you're going to say, oh, I'm going to do it. And then we're going to be trying to outdo each other. That's just how we are. But you can see how that's coming together. It's actually pretty cool. See, I like it like this because, you know, use the smallest piece of sponge you have to. Don't try to use like a big piece because you don't want to get it inside those grooves. So, because the bigger piece you use, the bigger the piece, the more you run the risk of it, you know, going into that groove and having to repair and fix and stuff like that, you know. This is even, see my little mistake down there, right there? See, it even saved from me messing up and going into that by using this small. And it doesn't take this long to dry at all. And once I get this all sponged in, then I go back and see where I need to do some more. This is actually not too bad. I would lighten it up a little bit, but yeah, I go back and I see where I need to put some more color, you know, deepen the color up. And be mindful, all brick is not, you know, the same exact color. Some bricks are darker, some bricks are lighter. So that's why I say sometimes I might swirl a little bit of white in it or swirl a little bit of red in it, you know, and just add some more depth to it. But you see my brick? So that's how I do it. I actually like it. I think it's interesting color. Gray brick. Anyway. So there's my piece of brick. And then, you know, if I wanted to, I can go into the grout and paint that I'll show you how I do that on here. This is the one that I'm doing for my fireplace, and I'm gonna take, I think I was using this one. And honestly, had I thought about, you know, painting this, then I would have probably made the grout less deep, you know, not as deep. But you want to go into the, can't really see this. Let me see if I can get a little closer. But I'm going to go into, this grout, and just, that's why I said this is going to take some time, because I've got to go into the grout and paint it. And these little teeny paint brushes, if you got another idea, text me and tell me how you think I should do this. But you got to go into the grout and paint it. So, okay. And then I just keep painting. And you got to do both sides. Any part of it that you can see, any part of that grout that you can see needs to be painted if you're going to paint it. And because I'm doing these bricks, this light color, then I've got a lot to cover. I'm actually tempted to start drilling it, you know, a little less deep. But I don't know how that would look, honestly. I could do the bottom bricks over and just, I don't know. We're going to see. I don't know. I might get lazy and just change it up. I wanted